So, guys, I finished reading the Shards book. The Shards is it's my new favorite show, and when I discovered that it's based on a book, so I read the book. I was slowly reading it because I was just like, and I was like, screw it tonight. Like, I read, I finished reading the book. So something. Let me talk about something that I freaking called that I knew was gonna happen. There's a scene where Brett and Robert hook up. They partially hook up, and it's so weird because it's like it comes out of nowhere, and when I was reading it, I'm like, did this really just happen? And then at the same time, I'm sometimes I'm wondering, I'm like, or is this in Brett's head because this is just out of nowhere, like they're getting into a fight and then they're arguing and then it yes, something happens, which I was like, okay. Um, Let me also talk about. Well, I already knew it was gonna happen in the book that Brett hooks up with Terry, which I knew was gonna happen. Debbie's dad. It's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see that play on the show. Let me talk about something. I got really, really annoyed in the book that Brett's convinced that Robert's the troller, even the whole time I'm reading it and I'm like, it's not him. There was what else was okay, so I already but by the show, like I could already tell that Susan and Robert were gonna become a thing. The book literally confirmed it. I don't like the fact that in the book Susan cheats on Tom with Robert when like Tom's out of town. That really irritated me. Like it did. I thought it was nasty and sleazy and gross. I was like, what the actual fuck? Um I also okay, so towards the end of the book, okay, let me I'm going to talk well listen. If you never read the book, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be spoiling stuff that happened in the book that I can't believe. There was a scene. Okay, let me talk about something. There was there was a scene where okay, so when there's a scene towards the end of the book that happens, Susan gets attacked by an intruder, and she bites the intruder, and in the process of her being attacked, well, before she gets attacked, she calls her ex boyfriend Tom to come, you know, help her and save her, and so basically, the book it never reveals who attacked Susan and Tom, but it's it's hinted at that it was Brett, which which is crazy because it's just like because there's a scene where okay Brett okay he got into a fight with Robert. Robert ended up dying. He ends up a couple days later meeting up with Susan and at her house, and they're talking, and she allegedly sees bite marks on Brett, and she's convinced that Brett attacked her and Tom, which which is just weird. Like, why would Brett attack his? Why would he attack one of his best friends? Why? Or let me phrase it. Why would he attack two of his best friends? Yeah, and there was something else that happened in the book that I would have liked. Um, Debbie goes missing when Debbie like Debbie loses her shit after her horse gets killed, and then she finds out pictures that Brett, her boyfriend, hooked up with her dad Terry, and she's missing. And the whole time I'm reading that, I'm like, okay, the trawler's gonna get her and this and that. Because honestly, I don't really, I don't honestly, I didn't really care for. I didn't really care for Debbie as a character. I'm sorry, I didn't. In the book, I mean, I felt, I felt a little sympathy for her because I'm like, she doesn't know that her boyfriend's gay as hell and doesn't want to be with her, and I kind of feel bad for her. And then the fact that her parents' marriage is 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 awful. But like I said, I don't know. And then I was really sad that Brett and Brett and Ryan didn't like end up together. I freaking knew they were not gonna like end up together. Like I was like, yeah, they're not gonna end up, and I don't. They're not. I and then there was a part in the book where like Brett is out and about and he sees his lady. He hasn't seen in like 40 something years, and halfway later towards the book, he confirms that it was Susan. And that, yeah, and I was like, damn. And it's like, it's gonna be interesting if they end up putting that in in the show. And then it's gonna be interesting how they put in the whole Susan and Tom getting attacked. Like, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And then and then what's crazy is the troller the trawler, it gets revealed that it's a bunch of people that are doing it, and they they actually they get asked if they attacked Thomas. They get asked if they attacked Tom and Susan, and they're like no. So then the whole time it's just like the, and then it's just like, and then it's just like, I'm scratching my head wondering, did freaking Brett really do it? Did he attack Susan and Tom? Because it's crazy. The whole time he's like, oh my gosh, it wasn't me, it was Robert. And I'm just like, I'm like, are you this delulu? I don't know. I just, honestly, after in the book, I really think Brett, he had the hots for Robert. He did. He should have just been honest. And, he wanted Robert. That's the honest truth. I don't know. I just, like I said, I don't know. The ending shocks me. It does. And then just something else that happened in the book, which I could see them having happen on the show, where um, Terry gets injured at his house in the middle of having a party, and Brett thinks that Robert pushed him because Terry had made advances towards Robert at at the party. And I'm like, You see, because that's the thing. It's like, okay, so he rejects Terry's advances at the party, and then Brett's like, oh my gosh, he pushed Terry, and then I was like, and then halfway through the book, they end up having a moment, and I'm like, I don't think they really messed around. I think it was all in Brett's head because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Robert is straight. Why would he come to Brett's house? They get an argument, and then they end up doing stuff, making out and stuff, and stuff happens. I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. I think that was in Brett's head. But like I said, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see. Well, I can see them having that on the show. I can really see them having that in like season two. Like I said, I love this book. It's one of my all time favorite books. Like I'm gonna read it like a bunch more. But like I said, I love it. It's making me love the show more. If you love the show, I recommend you read the book because the book it's it's insane like the show, and no complaints at all. Mm-mm. And last but not least, I want to talk about the fact that I'm disappointed as hell with Susan because I'm like, she literally cheated on Tom with Robert. I'm like, girl, if you didn't want to be with him anymore and want to be with Robert, you should have broken up with Tom and then ended up with Robert. I don't. I'm just like, girl, I'm just like, Susan, honey, you should just, you should have just broken up with Tom to be with Robert. It's not that hard. Cause it's like, I could clearly tell by the show that something was gonna happen with her and Robert, and I'm just like, yeah. But like I said, I'm disappointed that she could have just been honest. I mean, I could tell. I mean, it was something else that was interesting. Which, so let me just tell you something. So okay, well, something else. Honestly, I'm gonna do a separate video, and because there was so much shit that's different from the book from the show, I think I'm gonna wait until the season one's done, and I'm gonna do a compare because there is so much shit that's different from the book. And let me just let me get back on the whole song. I mean, Susan and Robert situation. One thing that I do love is that Susan, like, okay, Brett ends up, when he discovers that Susan's like cheating on Tom with Robert, they're spending a weekend together in Palm Springs. Like, Susan didn't want Brett to freaking tell Tom. And I love the fact that Tom, I don't know, I like the fact that Brett ends up telling Tom because it's like he's being a good friend. He's like, yo, like telling his friend, like, yo, your girl, when you were like gone for weeks, she was, yeah, yeah, because it's like, I don't know, it was a real sticky situation. It's gonna be so interesting to see how that plays out in the show. Like, I'm like, are they gonna have that be like a plot for season one or season two? Like, I can really see it being a storyline for season two. Yeah. But like I said, that's it. I'm talking about it. Like I said, I'm gonna do, when the season is done, I'm going to do a video comparing the book with the show. Like, I'm gonna talk about the stuff that they changed up. Peace.